Beautiful day, Patriots. How are you? Ever since I had a bicycle, you could always find me at a library. Since before, probably like fourth grade, on Ford. Every town, every place I always lived in. And I still cannot spell any single words. I still can't pronounce words. I don't know how to do math. But I have not let any of those things keep me from studying. The Cabinet of Natural Curiosities. This is a book from the 1700s. This is a documentation of Earth's plants. We can see the red coral right here on the top of it. This is something that the Native Americans have a lot to do with for some reason. They like this red coral. And to find red coral, you've got to go in the ocean below the sun level. Here's the sun. Red coral will not grow above this line. It's got to be below the sunlight for red coral to be found. So it's kind of odd that, that this is even known. But I bring this up because of also the Native American Indians, talk about it. And when we look at this book, like I say, these are historical, look how big this is, books that are in libraries all over the place. And this is kind of the guy that gets credit for it. And we're going to talk about a bunch of different things, and hopefully it shows through. There's the coral. Again, it's being highlighted. Look. And then back there, look at those. Okay, well, let's just say those are mountains right now. And you can see that he's got all these specimens in jars with red lids. I'm not saying he's in a dress. I'm just saying I can't see his pants. There's the kraken in the jar right there. We can see a pillar of marble, which would be quite an amazing feat in the 1700s. I mean, just making a spiral marble. It's hard enough to make wood spirals. I mean, not really with that, but I mean, so we can look at this. He's the guy that gets credit for drawing all these pictures. There's a bunch of things that we'll talk about this. And again, these are from the 1700s. Okay. And as we go here, we can see these are some of the examples of the drawings of the different specimens that have been collected around the world. Doesn't that look like the squatter man? Also the hieroglyphics and also the plasma. But anyways, one of the other things is this is in the 1700s. And look at the colors. And you're like, oh, well, no, that's just because we've got colors now and they printed them. Oh, really? Really? They added colors to these then? Okay. I'll give you that. 300 years ago, they had this kind of shading and colors. I mean, it's incredibly accurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at, hopefully this microscope will go ahead and get into some of these things. Now, again, this is in the 1700s. We're looking at things. We can see globes all over the place. And in the 1700s, now, America was just being, this book was, what was it? Middle of the 1700s, about the time America's becoming America. Here's a globe right here, which shows America and South America quite clearly. Quite clearly. They knew about the West Coast the whole time. Okay, now let's see what's some of the other things. We can see, I don't know if this microscope will show it. I'm just, like I say, we're going to see time with the skull on it. Time is death. Let's see what was some of the other things in here. Okay, these pictures. This is from the 1700s, right? This is from the 1700s. Look at the size of that building. Look at the size of that building. It's a picture of a building. What was some of the other things that I noticed? Look, okay, so there's Jesus on a cross right here. And all these cannons are pointing right at it. There's Jesus in a picture right here. There's Jesus right there. And there's another world right over here with all kinds of, what is that? Some kind of a crab creature and all kinds of man standing on it. Anyways, that globe right there is different from that globe right there. That's kind of the one that we kind of see and know, with all these death and skeletons all over it. And then this one over here is kind of looks different. Oh, there's a skeleton over there. And all kinds of stuff. Books and knowledge. trinkets. Now, okay, so let's go forward. I've got some other things that I want to show you here. Like I said, there's more stuff here, but it's hard to show exactly everything with this camera. Now, again, the red coral right here, smack dab in the middle. I don't know if it's red coral or not, but here is a painting of him doing his work. Okay, and if we look here, we can see big, huge library, right? Big, huge library. And then a bunch of different curiosities, right? And then if we look at this picture, we can see the pillars on the side, right? And this steps and this metal gates and the checkerboard, of course. But that's what the naves look like in the cathedrals. When they dedicate a certain room to a saint, they put the metal gate in front of it, and you can't go in there. And it looks just like this with the arches. I'm sure that's a coincidence. I'm sure that's a coincidence. Now, here is another picture in the book, and we're going to look at a couple different things. One of the weird things here, and I'm not saying these things are true, I'm just saying look what they show. This particular creature has a mouth and head on this side, and the tail has a mouth and a head, biting. Now, also, you see those little pine cone things? We can see those little pine cone things over there, and we can see those little pine cone things over there. Just like in the Egyptian petroglyphs and stuff. The other thing that's just kind of weird is we see the checkerboard floor. Look at this thing that's sitting right there that kind of blends in and just disappears into the floor, right? And it almost looks like a torso. And then if you look right below, it's going to be hard to see. But that looks like a flesh of a face. I agree, it's hard to see, but it's with this right here. But if you look, let me see if I can hold this. There's the eye in the dark, and the other eye droopy with the nose and the mouth. It's kind of just drooping there. Okay, and then, okay, so now we're going to come over here. Like I say, there's all kinds of different weird curiosities in this. But, what was that? Oh, okay, this is the 1700s, and there's just a regular old cowboy spur. Just a regular cowboy spur. And then when we come over here, I'm going to show you how they hide these like weird dates. Okay? And hopefully the camera, yes, it will. Maybe I didn't need the microscope. But okay, you see how the first letter has a bunch of chirography, squiggles? The first letter has a bunch of squiggly chirography. Okay? And when we look here, the 1 does not. But the 6 does. 5, 5. I'm just saying this is how you can see that they're adding time in this weirdest way. Why would you do the second letter as your squiggly and not your 1? Oh, you're saying because it would be prettier? Okay, but this happens all the time, as what I'm saying is how they take documents and are able to hide them. Again, look at the colors in these. I mean, that looks like a photograph color. Like the actual real shell. Oh, maybe those are the real shells. I guess those might be. I apologize. Those aren't the drawings. These are the guys that did it. There's a couple quick things. I mean, spiders and spiders and spiders. They knew about a bunch of other things. Did they know about us people too? There is another example of, I'm talking about the date. The 1736. See how it's 173? Look at the 6, how it does not match. There's other things here. Industrial laborers. And if we look here and look at this, look how she is handing and throwing down food, and they all have red faces. Look at her fingers pointing down to this baby. Ships and big old castles. Big old castles, big old castles with the sun god staring down and smiling, watching all this. Look at their faces. She's throwing down food, pointing at this. Is that just a coincidence? Throwing food, pointing at the baby. They all got blood stains. What is that?